Amistoso Stadium raises its collective voice to welcome these two sides. The chimes of hell's bells ring out. Will it be a case of welcome to pre-season hell for Stoke City this evening? Certainly an intimidating atmosphere on a competitive night, even this evening. The signs, just a slight bit of aggression, the skull and crossbones. They're dotted on the corner flags. Of course, the usual pre-match rituals, the handshakes. See there, Lee Grant between the posts. I'll bring you all the changes to Stoke City side in just a moment, but here is how FC St Pauli line up. 6 changes from their opening day fixture on the weekend, but it's that same front two, Alagui and Buhaduz, who lead the line. And a big shout for Jeremy Dudziak, the number 8 left back, returning to football after 3 months out with injury. Tobias Stieler is our referee this evening. Shouldn't expect too many handbags as Charlie Adam and Berniri shake hands. Take a look at the Stoke starting 11 for this evening. It's an aggressive lineup with Bojan, Crouch and Joselu. It's a triangular front three. Josh Tymon, the new arrival from Hull City, in at that left wing-back position. Diouf at the right wing-back position. And a defensive back three, Muniesa, Suter, the teenage youngster. And Philip Wohlschied, of course, more than accustomed to playing in Germany. His football, the former Bayer Leverkusen and Wolfsburg man. Well, they'll want to make an impression this evening, the home side. But nobody wants to pick up a nasty knock, particularly when you've already started your domestic campaign. Last look around from the 30-year-old captain. Neri will be keeping his boys in order tonight. Charlie Adam, ever-experienced, watches on as we get underway here. Bojan getting us off from the centre spot. It's Stoke City in their in their home strip, kicking from left to right with the red and white traditional stripes, white shorts and white socks. And it's FC St Pauli in their almost dull brown with the red and white trim on the front of the shirt. Kicking from right to left on your screen. An early touch for Himmelmann, who just fires it straight out of play and into the crowd on that far side. I feel that the home side will certainly have to just put their foot down on their opponents and settle into this one early on. They'll need to have possession to do that. That's well spread to this near side by Bojan. Diouf. How does Dudziak fare against Diouf? Out of the competitive action for so long. It's a tall order to come back against a Premier League side. It's patient from the Potters. It goes back to Muniesa. Adam trying to turn away and find space. Ball inside to Mbula, just lurking in the centre circle, but it's nicked away, and suddenly Alagui trying to release it down the centre of the field. Just asking a little too much there of St Sahin. Did well to keep the pressure on. Can't clear their lines here, Stoke City. Flum just collecting on the edge of the box now, move left. And broken up by the teenage centre-back, Harry Suter. Home side staying on the front foot, Alagui. Performed so well on opening night. Here he is again, the number 11. Shaping to try and pull the trigger, lays it back instead. Could be a chance from range. Flashes just wide of the target from Litka. Really tidy move from the German side. Look at the space Alagui has. No one really closes him down until it's too late. Time and space to measure the shot as well. 21-year-old dragging it wide. Much to the relief of Lee Grant. And Grant happy to hoik it up to midfield. Flicked on by Joselu, but nowhere near Crouch. Looking for options, eventually coming short is the number 9, Buhaduz. Only hoof it aimlessly across the field. Josh Timon looking to make an impression, but he's lost possession, crowded out by 2. Brought away down that far side again. There's plenty in support, looking for the ball to come to Alagui. Was lurking on the top of the box, free kick given in the end as Mbula was a little robust coming in from behind. Sahin is just making his presence felt with that diagonal run from right to left, coming forward. A set piece, really promising range. Grant just trying to organise the wall. Looks like Sahin's the only one who fancies it. Sahin with the left boot. Over the wall and tipped away, but not convincingly by Grant. Seemed to slip through his fingers in the wet conditions. Behind, forward corner. Can't afford to make too many mistakes like that. The Stoke City goalkeeper scrapping with Jack Butland for the starting spot in the side. Butland, of course, who spent so much time out of action last year injured, as Sahin whips it in again in towards the near post. Cleared away by the boot of Joselu, of all people, back there helping the defensive effort. Collected in the middle of the park and just settled down by Duziak. They'll regroup and reset with Lee Young Park. Schopenhauer. After taking the early initiative, Stoke have struggled to find any possession just in the last 2 minutes or so. That was Schopenhauer again. Ball into the space for the captain to move forward. Neary sends it just 5 yards ahead. Played by Litka just to steady and pick out a brilliant ball to the back stick. My oh my, that would have been some way to break the deadlock. As is Buhaduz lining up a ripper with the right boot. A phenomenal bit of long-range passing to pick him out. Just squeaks wide of the target, never really connected with it properly. Grant was on his tiptoes and nervous about it. Diouf trying to pick out Joselu. Still can't find each other, the Stoke players. we were talking about in terms of being match fit and match sharp. Mark Hughes referenced that in his pre-match press conference. Both managers were expecting a very open and attacking game this evening. With 7 minutes gone, there's only one side doing the attacking, and it's not his at the moment. Forward by the 21-year-old left-back. Defended, though, by Suter. Trying to make an impact and break into the starting 11 after joining Stoke City from Dundee United. He's outnumbered at the moment, though, on this near side. Just couldn't squeak through to Tusiak, who made the run on the overlap. They'll keep possession, though. Nowhere to go again for Litka. Worked away by Mbula. Still going Mbula. Needed some support and eventually found it from Bojan. Patiently worked out to that far side. Muniesa just rolling it forward. Bojan again trying to be problematic. Have to go back to the centre-backs once more, though. Doing really well in terms of cutting out the passing lanes at the moment, the home side. Mbula, back to Muniesa. Just nowhere to go, though. Mbula is struggling to go anywhere but backwards. That's where he has to go. Not the pass forward that Joselu wanted. He'll be brought away by Sahin once more. He's got a spring in his step in the early going. Space for Litka. Gets the return ball as well. Almost came again from Alagui, but not quite. No space for Josh Tymon to stretch his legs. Crouch will try and close it down. He's not seen any service so far, and Zubic gets it away. Threaded on that far side, but there's no chance for Park to get onto it. Ooh, that's a nasty challenge. Mbula just got momentum going, and Clement Schopenhauer just chopping him down in the heart of the pitch. Just started bouncing off defenders. And Mbula with that surging run, but halted prematurely. Step inside by Diouf initially, but giving away possession. Alagui, he's in on goal, got to be crowned and coolly dispatched. Every Stoke defender was looking for a flag that never came, and the home side had the advantage after just 11 minutes. Sami Alagui, brought in from Hertha Berlin on a free transfer this season, timed his run to perfection. As soon as he got one-on-one with the keeper, there was no stopping him. Really tidy finish. And a deserved lead, FC St. Pauli. Created the goal on the weekend. He's now found one. There might be an immediate reply here. Yosu trying to get onto it. Took off his line was Himmelmann. Deep ball into the forward as well, but just ran away from him in the wet conditions, and back comes Sahin here. I said they were good on the counter-attack. They're showing that right now. Muhadouz takes the deflection. Out for a corner. Every time Stoke think they've got forward into some space, give give away the ball and it comes back with immediate effect. It's the man who's about to take the set piece who is orchestrating a lot of it. Alagui trying to be a nuisance around Lee Grant. Sahin to whip it in with the left boot. Good ball into the danger zone, but it's easily cleared away. I think Crouch got the initial touch on it. And it was Suter who cleared it. Up to Bojan, feeds it inside. Charged by Diouf, just supporting on the near side. Has to go the long way round, but he's done well. Just couldn't find the service though, well cut out. Stoke trying to fire the home side with a bit of their own medicine, quick on the counter-attack, but to their credit, Olaf Janssen's side were quick to get bodies back, just smother the danger. Schopenhauer. Flum gives it wide to Alagui. Dropping deep, but where he could go. Marked by Diouf well. Superb ball across field. Alagui finding the space. And plenty of it on this near side. Just no return ball by Litka. And he got that through. Stoke would have been in real trouble. They still might be because they can't clear their lines once more. Flum. Neat one into the channel. Tudziak fires it across. Almost turned into his own net. Muniesa, the complete wrong angle to try and get that clear. Stoke eventually relieved the danger. There is ample opportunity on the flanks for the home side. They're playing with such pace. Sahin. Lovely one-touch passing. Park. Alagui. Striker's challenge from Bojan there. Free kick taken quickly. Litka goes back. They were dominant in their pre-season games, FC St. Pauli. Didn't lose one. Olaf Janssen, the new manager in, I feel has been able to inject into this side a bit of rhythm, a clear method of finding the back of the net. It's a long season yet, but very bright things. Kept in by Diouf. Needs somewhere to go with it. Walsheed moves it out wide, and now a little bit more space for Timon to work with, but again it's taken away from him very quickly and easily. Tudziak. Was lurking, but perhaps doesn't quite have the spring in his step that he would have done a few years ago to cut out that crossfield ball. Always dangerous to go across the 18-yard box. Flum. Neri. Zubic. Again, a pocket of space and bursting into it. Sahin, this time the flag is raised. Alagui as well was looking at that ball over the top and initially thought about chasing it down. He did look onside. Played by Mbula, and again on the charge. Back to Crouch. Adam. Suter. Closed down, but the centre-back fancies his chances of providing some service. A high boot from Crouch, and he's going to be penalised for that. That was a nasty knock, incidental. Park putting his head into it. Put his head right into the boot. Peter Crouch. Being that tall often helps him when the ball's being whipped in from the flanks, but can also be a hindrance at times. And a round of applause for Yi Young Park as he gets up and looks okay to continue on. Optimistic ball that straight down the throat of Diouf, and he's on again on the move. Bojan, big step inside, doesn't really have anywhere to go. Now he's able to find Diouf on the edge of the box. Adam gets it back at his feet. The quality of delivery is certainly lacking. Cleared away by Dudziak. Bojan has it once again. Two shirts around him though of brown, white and red. And again Stoke lose possession. Litka still allowed to come forward. Three around him, but they opened out a lane and he almost got onto the ball off Muniez's feet. Probing down the right once more, the Potters. I have to say it's a slightly unusual formation for Mark Hughes' side to play. Perhaps they're finally getting to grips with it. That's a lovely ball into Timon. Can't find Joselu on the low ball. That's the legs of the 18-year-old that Mark Hughes wants to see, bursting into space and whipping deliveries in. Adam, I'd say, comes away with the loose ball, but the free kick is given as Sain was just clipped to the ground. High press from the Premier League side. Joselu is going to close down Himmelmann. Again, some tidy one-touch passing, just relieves the danger for the moment. Nowhere, though, for Schopenhauer to go. They have to go back to the keeper once again. He's been untested so far after 20 minutes. Easy evening in the rain for the man in orange. Charlie Adam fancies a go from long range. You've seen him score something like that at Stamford Bridge a few years ago. Just saw the 28-year-old keeper just a little too far off his line. Spotted it early, just didn't get the power. In the meantime, could be a chance for a second. Grant is beaten, and Litka tucks it away. Just when you thought Stoke City were getting back into this, FC St Pauli double their advantage. Really neat finish by the 21-year-old. Just got in behind that defence that has looked lost, the back three at times. Neri with the delicate dink over the top. Grant getting fingertips to it, but can't keep it out. Homegrown youngster on the score sheet. Yet to score in his 7 competitive outings for his side in the senior team. One of many that they're trying to bleed into the team. fair bit of youth in this starting 11 with Dudziak at just 21, Sahin 22, Park at 23. The experience as well, particularly of the front two, and the combination play that we've already seen from them this season. It's giving everybody around here a fair bit of optimism. In the meantime, Diouf is coming forward once again. He's got no support inside and almost has to retrace his steps. Free kick against Dudziak. He, much like the home fans here, looked very surprised that that was given. Just a good 50-50 battle. Muniesa. Floated over the top by Adam. Can't pick out a target. Had 3 in the vicinity. But there's no chance for the FC St. Pauli number 9, Aziz Bouhadouz, to do anything with the delivery back the other way. And he brought out once again the 18-year-old Suta. Probe with Diouf once more, and a wild hack goes well behind Himmelmann's goal into the stand. Raised hand in apology. Not really sure what he was thinking, aside from the aimless thump there. An orthodox attempt to bring it under control by Sahin. Adam looks to ping it across to this near side once more, and he's found another very well-measured ball to Diouf, who again can't find any support in close range. Trying to go long, just doesn't seem to be his game at the moment. Philip Volchi. Adam. Crouch being pushed and pulled there by Park, and the free kick given. Every so often there's a spring in the step. But then suddenly the Potters seem to peter out. Adam floats it into the box. Diouf fancies his chances again. Better ball in, but well read and headed away by Zubic. Brought away by Sahin, who's on the prowl, and Adam sends him sprawling down to the deck. There's just an injury still, as I think it's Zubic, just on the edge of the 18-yard boxes. Just picked up a knock. Mark Hughes still doesn't look too happy about what he's seeing. Still no sign of Hughes getting off the dugout and marking out too many orders, though, in his technical area. This break in play. Let's have a look at the 2 goals. Alagui just set through, untracked. And Lee Grant will be having words with his defenders at half-time about their marking. A really tidy finish for the Tunisian. And another brilliant ball that split the Stoke defence. This time Maurice Litka profiting from it. A similarly fine finish. That, at the moment, is how this game stands. See St. Pauli 2-0 up. Stoke struggling to find anything. Tipped across to Litka. And away, but Diouf can't take advantage of the possession. He's run into Dudziak, who's gone down and stayed down there. Certainly seemed incidental, but the last thing he wants is any more knocks to the shoulder. Seems to be the lower back that's in pain. It's just a knee, isn't it, from Diouf there. He went straight down, and he does look in a bad way. And you hope, after coming back from 3 months without competitive football, it isn't a short return for the left back. Shake of hands, as I say, nothing too malicious in it. Kusiak need to go off for a little more treatment. Mark Hughes now, with the break in play, using the opportunity to try and talk to his young centre-back and sort out the defence that's been so leaky in the opening 28 minutes. Of course, Stoke City renowned for such a difficult side to play, particularly under the leadership of Tony Pulis. Last season, conceded far too many goals in the Premier League. 56, the highest total since they arrived in England's top flight, Stoke City. Will have to change if they're to find a way back into the top half of the table. Moorman clears it away. No free kick given for the challenge on the forward, but Litka takes it on in his stride. Brilliant ball as well. Alagui on the volley. The flag was up on the far side. That would have been something very special. Certainly an appreciation for the effort. Great ball in from Litka. Just didn't get over it. Couldn't keep his head down. The final ball and the crossing from FC St. Pauli tonight has been right on point. There's still plenty of time for them to get more. 29 minutes gone. FC St. Pauli 2, Stoke City 0. The penultimate game of Stoke City's pre-season here on DAZN, your home of live football for the coming campaign. Ball across field, it can't be cut out though by time, and misjudged the bounce, and a little bit of luck sent it into Park's feet now. Sahin. Simon back doing the defensive work, but Sahin was making a meal of him. Muniesa cuts out the cross. Bojan trying to lead a break that doesn't have much support with it. Mbula. Another powerful run down the centre, skipping past the challengers. Needs to find somewhere to go with it. He's done very well indeed there in a tight spot. In towards Crouch. Has to bring it down on the chest. Excellent control from the big man. Even better challenge from the right back, Yoon Park. Timed it to perfection. And he picks out his number 9. Buharu's quite competently with the clearance. Always had it in his locker, Peter Crouch. So the free kick is taken quickly. Can't pick out Alagui on the quick one, and Stoke will come back in possession. Litka. They're getting cocky now, the home side, trying the flicks and tricks. Diouf just trying to barge his way through. This was Joselu. Neat turn from the Spaniard, who was on loan at Deportivo La Coruña last season. Adam almost flicking it through to Crouch, not quite on the same page though. Sahin comes back the other way. Park. Space to move into. Now Timon closes it down. That's about the first poor delivery we've seen from an FC St Pauli player in terms of just dropping it into the final third. A safe one for Lee Grant to collect. He'll be grateful of that, I'm sure. Bojan. Adam just caught being a little lazy on the ball, but he's done well to get it back. Stepped over the challenge. Not sure there was too much contact there between he and Sahin. He was certainly impeded in his movements, though, Charlie Adam. Bojan once again losing possession. It's just on the edge of that final third that is the stopping point every time for Stoke's attacks. Once again, it's the 22-year-old coming forward, Sahin, who's brought down. Known for being a physically powerful defender, Philip Volschi. That's why he's anchoring the heart of the back three for Stoke this evening. Clearance away, but a slip from the teenager. Into Litka this time, feeding it into Alagui, and again just behind him, just off point. But such an open lane for them to break into. Isn't helped by the mistake from the defender. It's quite sloppy at times from the Premier League side. The flag is up on the far side against Alagui as he again just can't quite time the run. Muniesa stepping up, the perfect moment. It's close though, still very close in the meantime. He's trying to whip it in there. 4 Stoke shirts in and around the 18-yard box, but he has to go back to Mbula. Nowhere for him to go, so he just fancies going alone. He might break to Hosselu. Now Bojan just drags it wide of the target. It's the best effort they've created so far, Stoke City, but Bojan, edge of the box, had a shooting lane, dragging it wide. They're just struggling to keep the ball. It's getting better and better from Stoke, but it's direct out to the flanks. It's not much creativity in the middle of the park. It's certainly down on the possession stats at the moment. I think in terms of quality as well, Mark Hughes' side is second best. Here's Crouch. Easy ball to cut out. Subic got the ball away from danger, but straight back into it though as Diouf latches on to the miscued pass. Going to take on Dudziak, but he has support from Litka. Adam thought about the shot. Bojan, Crouch, back again to the little Spaniard. Been around some of the great clubs in world football: Roma, AC Milan, Barcelona. Bojan never quite been able to reach those high heights though. Not to take anything away from Stoke City in the setup they have though. Milman again just needing to clear it away. That's all he's had to do so far. Skips under Charlie Adams' foot. Physical but fair onto it was Suter, but given away once again. Alagui has runners left and right. Goes left to Litka, who rides the challenge, gets caught by Adam. Free kick given. Well, some would say he's got a bit of a reputation, Charlie Adam, of just being a touch heavy-handed. It was just slightly mistimed. Certainly made contact with the 21-year-old. I'd imagine there's not much of a foot race in that one between Litka and Adam. And the youngster's probably always going to get the better of him. Another free kick in a dangerous position. Buhadou's stood over at the number 9 like he fancies it. Sahin's there too with the left-footed outswinger as Grant arranges the troops. It will be the number 9. Buhadou's drills it in low and didn't have a chance of sneaking under Lee Grant. Held it well. Bojan flips it up to Joselu. Timon might get onto it. Park wins the foot race. Sahin caught, free kick as he turned Menyeza. Centre-back knows he did wrong there, just catching the foot of the 22-year-old. It's the only bit of summer spending that the German side have done this season. Anybody else they've brought in has been a free transfer. Lucas Zander, Alagui, of course. Schopenhauer, who's featuring at centre-back and on the ball here. Cost around about £1 million, did Seng Sahin. Looks value for money right now. Volchi. Timon, who hasn't had an easy run of things. There's been a bit more space for Diouf on the right flank than Timon's had on the left as Adam moves it across to this near side. Adam again. Not sure if that was a pass or a shot, the way he was shaping with that, but a very easy ball into the danger area to clear away. Space for Bojan, but 6 behind the ball as he keeps coming forward and has to go from range, and that's what they're being limited to with 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. Always off the outside of the boot, always swinging wide of the target. It's a lovely ball into Joselu, suddenly in on goal, off the frame, and back in on the rebound. Quick reactions from the man who grabbed 2 in their last friendly outing against Bolton. It's 3 in 2 games now for the Spaniard. It's a lovely ball from Diouf. It's the first bit of space in behind the defence that Stoke City have had. He really rattled the near post with that first effort. Very quick thinking with the second. Everybody else stood still. Joselu tucks it in. And they've pulled one back finally, Stoke City. Is that the resurgence that Mark Hughes wants to see? He still needs to organise things at the back though with his side. Again, lovely one-touch passing, moving the ball so freely. Alagui almost onto it. Sahin finds Park on the far side. Neri. little more structure to the defensive line there. Just dealing with that attack quite comfortably as Pauli looks to move it away. Diouf has to go back to Grant. It's a lovely step. Suter just sending the forward the wrong way. Difficult for Timon to deal with on that far side. Once again, getting no space. Mbula. Timon just lurking forward now on that far side. Niesa. Charlie Adam. Not the best ball in, headed away by Schopenhauer. Another chance for a counter-attack, and he's off and away. Sahin perfectly weighted into the space, and he's moving with pace. He's got two in the middle waiting for the service. Can't find Alagui. Adam deals with the danger and sends it back to his keeper. Just an opportunity to pick out Flum on the edge of the box. Sahin instead opting to lift it towards the back stick. Aimless ball forward, Alagui won't get onto it. Pauli will build the attack from the back. Stoke players are wearing tracking devices, such as modern football with the addition of sports science. Try and work out who's putting the effort perhaps in pre-season. I wonder if those tracking devices have picked up the fact that the Potters have just upped the ante in the last 5 minutes or so. Whipped in by Diouf. Headed away though. Can't find Peter Crouch, and that's a difficult thing to do. Mbula. There was a lane just for a moment to find Bojan. Instead, Timon has it. Closed down by Park. Tries to cross it with the weaker foot, but the former Hull City man can't find a teammate. Alagui has pressure from behind, but shrugs off Diouf. Skips away from Mbula and Charlie Adam as well. Free kick given. Well, perhaps no. It's the end of the first half, excuse me, the whistle that's been blown. It's been a very good first half for the home fans. 2 goals and a lead at the break. Alagui and Litka, the goal scorers. Jocelyn's pulled one back for Stoke City. The half-time whistle. It's FC St Pauli 2, Stoke City 1.
Wie geraten? So kann kein Mensch raten, hör auf.
Well, welcome back to Hamburg for second half action coming up here on DAZN. Stoke City's trip to northern Germany to take on FC St. Pauli. Before the second half action gets underway, I can remind you that the Ligue 1 season kicks off on DAZN this Friday night. Monaco, the reigning champions, against Toulouse. And Leonardo Jardim's side looking to try and step up to Ligue 1 action after being defeated in the Trophées de Champions by Paris Saint-Germain last Saturday. And then we continue our coverage of the opening weekend from France's top flight, with Paris Saint-Germain taking on the newly promoted Amiens on Saturday afternoon. The big games from the big sides, from the big leagues around Europe on DAZN this season. We are just a slight delay for a moment because everybody has stood around wondering where a football actually is. We will keep you up to date as well with the changes that have been made at half-time. 5 from the home side, including Himmelmann out between the posts, replaced by Philippe Hoewagen. Just the one from Stoke City. We'll bring you the updated team news in just a moment here, as Sahin remains and was a thorn in the side of the Potters in the opening 45 minutes. Ludica with the quick free kick, another one of the substitutes on for FC St. Pauli. Schopenhauer under pressure, almost had it nicked away from him. Ludica. Space to bring it forward for Litka. Still space to keep creeping forward as the Potters defence just sits off. Couldn't be brought under control though by Jan-Marc Schneider. Free kick given as Crouch goes down. Bojan. Closed down by Litka and by Kyung Rok Choi. Crouch. Stoke just simply trying to assert themselves in the early going here. This second half. A while to get into their flow, that's for sure, in the first, as it's laid off. Joselu sent it out wide. Scrap for on the far side, but nothing really coming for Jarvis as Diouf goes back. Adam fancies a go from range, but I think he always knew that was sailing wide of the mark and wasn't going to really test Philippe Hoewagen. 34 years of age, former Bayern youth product. Hoewagen under pressure as he clears the danger. Grant does the same at the opposite end. Time. Flick out to the far side by Charlie Adam, but the ball doesn't find Joselu. Crouch is onto it, just trying to create his own space here. Crouch and barging forward, and a free kick given against the gangly striker as he just lumbered into the fray. Bojan. Simon. Free kick given against Schneider, and the charge is on here. to Schneider. Lovely work between the front two. Choi. But perhaps feel he should have done better. And Mark Schneider just picking out Choi's run through the heart of the pitch. Again, sloppy in possession still. Sahin is up for absolutely every loose ball in the heart of the pitch. Bojan gives it wide. Gets the return ball as well. Doesn't really have anywhere to go with it. It's clattered down to the ground. Nudica. Slightly robust. His manager watches on. Teasing ball in towards Peter Crouch, and it had to be dealt with at the back post by Christopher Avevort. Behind for a corner. Didn't really know who or what was behind him, but Crouch was lurking. Certainly was threatening as Adam fires it in towards Crouch at the back post. Can't get high enough. Joselu to drift all the way across to Adam. And all the way back to the halfway line. Once again, another promising attack for Stoke City, just falling short. Adam trying to get them on the front foot in the right way. Joselu in a difficult position, couldn't do much more than he did. Off Schopenhauer. Oh, really good ball in, and the keeper, Hervegen, was all out of position initially there. Joselu stepping in front of his marker. At the movement of the goalkeeper. He's never getting there. Joselu had got that on target. Could have been his second brace in as many games. Cleared away by Park, but not well. Combination of Mbula and Diouf isn't a good one, to say the least. Akaken with the quick feet of Litka, they come. Lovely ball. Schneider just didn't quite have the touch at the vital moment. Bojan. Adam. It's better from Stoke City. Timon, though, loose with his control, and Neudecker is in to interfere. So we have the confirmed changes just running across your screen there. As I say, Schneider and Choi making up the front two. Neudecker sitting in the heart of the pitch. Stoke. Just the one change to their starting 11 at half-time. Suter coming out. Need to have some sort of defensive presence back there. Actually bounces off the referee to try to clear the danger. Away again, Sahin. It's really well left. Froome sends it inside, but the effort is straight down the throat of Lee Grant. Had loose hands in the first half, but not in the second early on. Diouf twisting and turning, trying to get away from Dudziak. Time and knocked to the ground, doesn't get anything. Sahin opens up space just by turning on the spot. And he stayed down. Mark Hughes is not happy with that challenge. Try catching the heels, perhaps. Mark Hughes sees his young winger still down on the ground. Looking like he's in a fair bit of pain as well. Might get a better look from this angle. It's almost the back studs of that left heel catching the teenager on the toe. And clipping round the ankle as well, twisting it as he went over. Relatively innocuous. I'm sure Olaf Jansen hasn't gone out with an intention to cause harm to these Stoke players, his side, in this second period. Competitive juices will get flowing, even in a pre-season friendly, though. Mark Hughes now stood up over the youngster, getting a really good look at it. It seems like a change might be coming here. Looks like Ryan Sweeney's going to be the man that will come on to replace Timon, who as Grant collects and we get this game back underway. Timon is limping and not wanting to put any weight on that left foot at all. To crouch, and Stoke player's been told to put the ball out so the change can be made. You see there Ryan Sweeney just with the GPS underneath his shirt. It's being used by the Stoke City players this evening. Timon trying to do as much as he could up and down that left side. I suppose that might be one of the secrets that Stoke are going to impart to their hosts in this new partnership that the two sides have come together with this afternoon. I see St. Pauli definitely hoping to learn from the Premier League counterparts in terms of the player development, the way that science and technology can help in the development of youngsters and the tracking of the health and fitness of injuries and just fatigue throughout the season. And as I said earlier, very useful as well, just to make sure that the players are going to be ready in time for the Premier League season that's just round the corner for Stoke City. Tom Edwards a little rash with the challenge. Certainly has cooled down slightly from the home side, although just as I say, that's a lovely ball over top. Litka with the shot, couldn't keep it down. They hadn't threatened for a while and have been quite slow and laboured compared to their opening 45 minutes. FC St. Pauli, Niccolo possession, and now a chance as Grant is beaten, a mistake put under pressure by Schneider. And Gyungrok Choi happy to finish from range with a delicate curling strike. Slightly embarrassing for the Premier League side to be caught napping like that. Lee Grant perhaps just didn't get the call. Jan-Marc Schneider was hot on his heels. Choi saw it coming. Put it away clinically. Another one of the homegrown youngsters on show, the 22-year-old South Korean. Did have a difficult season last year in terms of goals and assists. Really do enough to affect the team. Certainly out of favour around about January, February time, just after the long winter break that they have in Germany. That finish will certainly have got his manager's attention. Cut out on this knee side by Muniesa. Cut, looking to feed it into Choi, who's in behind. Flag's going to stay down. Just wide of the target. Ball watching, I think it was Ryan Sweeney, the centre-back, who's only just come on. Allowed Choi just to break in behind, in between the other two centre-backs for Stoke City. Could have been 4-1 in game, set, match that. Instead, the Potters are still in it. Just past the hour mark here in Hamburg. Mbula. Bojan onto the ball from Charlie Adam. Support inside from Muniesa, ignores him and goes the long way round. Doesn't look too happy, does he? See some Pauli manager, but I'm sure he'll be smiling on the inside. Good control. Plenty of room to come forward. Stoke defence just backing off. Muniza's back there, doesn't help. Great save by Grant. Brilliant reflex stop. Had to be strong as well to deny Litka. Litka feeds it back to Ziak. No way through. The left back falls short. It's behind for a goal kick. Just a mix-up as Muniesa got back involved. We're moved out to this left wing-back position now. It's itching to come back inside every so often. Cause trouble there. Joselu can't get on to the long ball forward. Park with nowhere really to go except back to his keeper. Under pressure from Crouch. Peter Crouch was coming back from an offside position as it came forward from Charlie Adam. Just a reminder, on DAZN, on Friday, the start of the Ligue 1 season. France's top flight as Monaco against Toulouse as the curtain raiser. Will be shown on DAZN, as well as on Saturday, the start of Paris Saint-Germain's encounters, kicking off their campaign with Amiens. Newly promoted side, given one of the toughest tasks, not just in French football, but in world football. Magenta Muniesa, closed down by Park. Not confidently cleared away. Neudecker got the touch that just forced the defence to hold firm and stand still. Didn't know where that flick was going. Last scrap for though at midfield. Space again for Sahin. Choi. Almost gets another bit of luck. Thumped away in the end by the convincing boot, Tom Edwards. There's always a danger in these pre-season friendlies that the pace can just taper off slightly. Just the summer heat, but the fitness levels still needing to be worked on. Of course, the changes that are made by the managers don't do much for the team chemistry in terms of the passing play, although trying to change that is Choi as he sends it down into the left channel, but it runs too far in front of Schneider. That's what I mean, just the link-up play that perhaps isn't there between players that don't often feature alongside each other. I think that's what we've seen this evening with the three at the back for Stoke City. Schopenhauer. The man holding the ball at the moment will be pleased to still be on the pitch after picking up the knock in the back earlier on. He'll be elated if he gets a full 90 minutes. Park. Avivor goes back to his keeper. Crouch just slows down the chase. Neudecker. Chance for Litka to move forward. Choi knocks it back. Sahin bursting into the channel. Really good work once again. Just running out of time and space and support. Well watched by Sweeney, but he's still got a ball into the box, headed away. They've got men forward now, Stoke. That's a great ball from Charlie Adam. Picks out the run. Mohamed Diouf. The ball back, Josselou, what a hit! A superb strike, it's another absolute screamer from the Spaniard. Now he has got back-to-back braces in the pre-season. It's come in some style. Just waited on the top of the box. First time on the volley, in at the near post. No chance for the keeper. Hit with such venom. Now they only trail by one, Stoke City. Change as well for the Potters in the aftermath of the goal. Bojan coming out, placed by Ramadan. The young Egyptian tried to make a mark last season. Got a fair few run-outs in the Premier League. Looking to improve on the last campaign for sure. Sahin does well to keep his balance, keep his wits about him and keep possession. Neudecker. Cut out. Ramadan. Nieza. Back inside to the substitute. Just come on, his first touch is a positive one, so. Diouf. Trying to pick out Crouch. Just not right behind the back line. Adam closed down by Schneider from behind. Had his wits about him, though. this time there's no further progress for Ramadan. A little too enthusiastic getting back with Joselu. Cynical. Perhaps would have been a yellow card if it wasn't such a friendly environment. I think in the Premier League season, that'd be pulled back for a yellow for sure. Another set of changes, including Duziak and Litka coming off. By Matsmola Daly. Daniel Udala featured in the first game of the season on the weekend. Brian Coughlin given their chances in the final 20 minutes or so against Premier League opposition. See some Pauli 3, Stoke City 2. Not the result that Mark Hughes would have wanted to see. Perhaps not the effort levels in the first half, but it has got better on his side as the first and second half have continued. That's a good challenge from his substitute. Vevo just moves it forward. Flume takes it in his stride and gives it to Sahin. Clipped across through that far side. Ball into the channel as well. Had to be watched as Neudecker came streaking forward. Chance from a set piece for the home side. Problem with the Stoke substitutes being behind the goal around there. Referee pausing play for a moment. Headed away comfortably by Diouf. Good throw inside. It's a scuff strike that Grant just about comfortable enough to just let go down his left side. Sahin just trying to cause mischief at every opportunity. He was worried for a moment though, the keeper. Control in the middle of the park just to evade the attention of the defenders. That's a very good stop again by Grant. He's produced a couple of really good saves. One across to his right. Udala stepping in. Needed a firm fist to keep it away. Even Matsmola Daly with the effort. Chance from a set piece though. What sort of service does Sahin have? They'll fling it all the way to the back post. Matsmola Daly floats it back in. Sahin once more. Free kick is given right on the edge of the box against Diouf. It did look like a theatrical fall. The Turkish winger. And there is a fair bit of pushing and shoving as well. Bit of frustration from the 29-year-old. Diouf's had to adjust to playing in that wide position. Normally a out-and-out centre forward, that's what he was when he came to the club, but asked to play on the flanks, has adapted to it. He's lost the goal return. Just picked up a fair bit of attacking threat from the wide flanks. Needs to adjust his defensive positioning perhaps. The signs all in is cleared away quite comfortably. Daly puts it inside. Neudecker. Cute chips aren't going to work that time. Sweeney eventually gets it away. Crouch with 4 around him, but again using the fancy footwork just to clear the danger. Just over 15 minutes remaining, plus any stoppage time for Stoke to try and find an equaliser. So you see the confirmation of the change. St Pauli FC line up once again after the 3 substitutions. Coughlin stepping into the back line to replace Schopenhauer. Good knock down by Crouch. He's such a threat. The knock back across goal. Sweeney trying to fling his body into it. Couldn't get enough on it. Froome turning away from danger. Neudecker has to go back. Can't thread the needle. Watched by Philip Bolshid. Joselu still scrapping for it, and that's a good ball over the top. Just to release Diouf. He's got Crouch in support, couldn't find him at the back post. Good intervention by Vevo. To make sure once again, not the first time he's been called upon, the second half substitute, just to clear the lines at the back stick. So a replay again of the fine strike from Joselu. Diouf working his magic on that right flank. Really neat finish from the forward as it's flung in from the corner. Crouch heads it down, can't beat the defenders. Cleared away now. Sahin, where's he going to go? On his own down the line. Couldn't beat the first man. Neudecker. Gudala. Still coming. Way to the top of the box before he lays it off to Daly. Slips under the Norwegian's foot. Unable to get it back. Good strength from Diouf on the far side. He's still going once again. Well, 3 or 4 defenders in his run, but stopped eventually in his tracks. He looks tired and suffering perhaps from cramp. So he picks himself back up to his feet. The home side sportingly just slows things down for a moment. To Coy the flick. Muneza. Sahin pressured early at midfield, not given room this time by Sweeney, but he's still able to find the space on the far side. He's terrorising the Stoke midfield and defence. Dalla brings it forward. Smaller Daly. Lovely work between those two flags, going to stay down as well. Good ball in, the header's over the top from Schneider. Almost the perfect move on the edge of the final third. dropped in at the back post. Schneider got a decent look at it, despite the crowding defender. Just couldn't keep it down. Moved across. Once again, Ramadan trying to go round the outside. Nowhere for him to go. He just clipped, but carries on. Gets the free kick though. He's going too far back. Rather ungainly challenge from the German centre-back. Didn't have much playing time last season. Philipp Wohlschied, who's known at Wolfsburg, only made 7 appearances in the Bundesliga. He wants to get back to playing first-team football once again, but he's got to get his defensive head in gear. Might be a chance here for Daly. Lays it off instead. Gets the free kick right on the edge of the box. Just drew in the defenders. Referee could have perhaps let that continue because Schneider on this near side has an acres of space. Instead, Lee Grant will have to face perhaps another testing set piece. Around about 9 minutes to go, plus any stoppage time. The home fans are enjoying this scoreline. Their side 3-2 up against Stoke City of the Premier League, FC St. Pauli. The German second division have done a little number at the moment on Mark Hughes' side. They could get another one here. Struck low into the wall by choice. Sahin. The ball come at him just a little too quickly. Picks out the ball inside. There's nowhere really to go with it. Choi. Late ball into the channel as well as he looks for the return ball, but just being pulled and grabbed, and Choi has won a penalty for his side. Wohlschied looks dumbfounded, but he certainly had his hands on the forward as he went into the 18-yard box and continued his run. Look in the centre of your screen there. And again, as he made a bit of a meal out of it. The Stoke players look a touch confused. Choi, exactly what was happening there. There you just see perhaps the hand just catching around the side of the face. As Wohlschied tried to keep a track with his man. Either way, it's a chance for Sahin from the penalty spot. The icing on the cake, perhaps. Grant goes the wrong way. FC St. Pauli are now 4-2 up. It's certainly been an enjoyable evening in Hamburg for the home side. Another neat finish, this time from the spot. And his last touch, Sahin, is to find the back of the net. He's had a superb afternoon, Sahin. He's replaced by William Sobota. Surely now the game out of Stoke's reach in terms of finding a fight back. Mbula trying to charge through. He's blocked off almost immediately on the edge of the 18-yard box. Nice idea from Joselu, still trying to stay with it. can't stay with it forever. Flum. Strong challenge coming in from Ramadan. Needs some space and somewhere to go with it. And Bula also looking for that. Nunez is on this near side. Brought down from behind, free kick. Choi perhaps just evening it out. I doubt the Stoke players or fans will think that. Taken quickly up to Diouf. Ball into the channel. And the better was the timely challenge to get it away from Edwards. Launched into the box towards Crouch, can't get onto it. Ramadan thought for a moment he's going to line it up as it was coming down, but he ran out of the time and space to do so. And Yeza has the throw. Ramadan twisting and turning and trying to get space down at the byline. That's another good challenge by Avevo. The corner and nothing more than that. And the Stoke substitute certainly thought he was in with a shout for a penalty. Adam launches it towards the back post. Crouch didn't get onto it, but the Stoke head did. Fist across by Adam. There's no real intended target on the ball across field. And Edwards, just with a nervy moment as he was being closed down. His clearance wasn't great either. Daly. Johannes Flum. Lovely ball inside. Grant with another good save. Thought for a moment that Daly was going to just knock it past him at the near post, but Grant stood tall. Comes Ramadan. And was being pulled back as well. He gets a free kick rather than releasing a teammate on the far side. Dynamo Dresden see St. Pauli coming up. There's an effort from a long way out, is a long way over. And that sums up the frustration, I think, for the away side. With a look at the stop from Grant, just trying to go between the legs in the end. Max Moller-Daly. Not to be beaten. Just saying they're the home side. Dynamo Dresden coming up in the league. First home game of the league campaign. They're away at Paderborn in the German Cup. They're away at Darmstadt. The game suddenly coming thick and fast. They can take plenty of confidence, though. There's not been many players out there in a FC St. Pauli shirt that you would say had a bad afternoon or a bad evening in the second half. Still coming across, but there's nowhere really for Diouf to go. Ramadan. Back to Adam. All over the top is out of the reach of Peter Crouch and behind for a goal kick. Well, the other half of the Stoke City squad. And of course, RB Leipzig coming up. And then it's into the Premier League action. Away at Everton, at home against Arsenal, two tough fixtures, and away at West Bromwich Albion against, of course, the former Stoke manager Tony Pulis. It's a tough start to the season for the Potters. Certainly not guaranteed 6 points from the first 3 games in any way, shape or form. So they look to make another change as well. Verlinden on to replace Diouf, who will also just hobble off, just as his teammate Josh Timon did. Nunez penalised for the challenge. Joselu kicking the ball away rather unsportingly. It's meant to be a friendly, but frustration is growing from the Premier League team. Only 60 seconds plus stoppage time remaining. It's probably good that we're getting near the final whistle.
What is the problem here?
Just about back on his feet and hobbling along. And Philip Kalla. Sabota sent it out to the left. That's Moladeli. It's been really good since he came on. Certainly has led the attacks just on that left side of the centre of the field. Flum. And that is all she wrote in Hamburg for Stoke City. Defeat at the hands of a second division side from Germany, but that doesn't tell the whole story of this game. A superb performance from FC St. Pauli and Olaf Jansson's side. Mark Hughes will have plenty to think about after his team conceded 4. Joselu with a really good second goal for Stoke after he pulled one back in the first half for his side as well. Good way for him to finish his pre-season, but disappointment overall for Mark Hughes and his team. Maybe profitable in the long run, but in the short term, the deal between these two sides to work together hasn't paid off for the Potters. The full-time whistle, it finishes FC St. Pauli 4, Stoke City 2. Well, we'll see what Mark Hughes has to say in just a moment as he trudges away. Doesn't look too unhappy. Perhaps the GPS tracking his players have been wearing will show that his side at least put in a decent stint and the fitness levels are improving. Philip Verwegen didn't have a second half to remember, but it certainly wasn't an easy shot to save when he conceded Joselu's. And a handful of positives for Stoke to take back home with them. Olaf Jansson is gathering his team in the centre circle. And this will be a huge confidence boost after the first win of the campaign on the weekend, beating a Premier League side now. And to bring that home to take on Dynamo Dresden in their home opener in the league. We can now hear from Stoke City, Philipp Wohlschein, the centre-back. Let's see what he has to say.
Ja, Philipp, 4:2 heute gegen den FC St. Pauli verloren. Da ist noch ein bisschen was zu tun bis zum Saisonstart.
Ja, das kann man so sagen. Ja, ich denke, es war wirklich verdienter Sieg, schwaches Spiel von uns. Natürlich haben wir jetzt vielleicht nicht mit dem Personal gespielt, wie wir jetzt am ersten Spieltag spielen würden, aber trotzdem haben wir uns gerade vom Taktischen her sehr, sehr schwach präsentiert in meinen Augen. Und ja, wenn wir uns so präsentieren, dann brauchen wir uns nicht zu wundern, wenn wir am ersten Spieltag eine Klatsche kriegen.
Du bist jetzt wieder nach einem Jahr zurück aus Wolfsburg hier bei Stoke. Was sind deine Ziele für die neue Saison?
Ja gut, wir sind jetzt noch in der Vorbereitung, geht es in 2 Wochen los. Natürlich will man spielen. Ob das möglich sein wird, weiß ich nicht. Ich gebe mein Bestes dafür, aber ja, jetzt insgesamt war heute die Leistung echt enttäuschend. Auch in der ersten Halbzeit haben wir Dreierkette probiert. Man hat mal gemerkt, dass wir das im Training die ganze Zeit überhaupt nicht gespielt haben. Waren komplett offen, haben nicht gewusst, wie wir verteidigen sollen. Und ja, das hatten die Paulianer gut ausgenutzt. Und ja, dann kann so ein Spiel so laufen. Ja.
Was meinst du, was ist drin in der neuen Saison für Stoke?
Es wird eine schwere Saison. Also. Wie gesagt, ich bin jetzt ja in der letzten Saison nur die ersten 2 Spieltage dabei gewesen. Von daher wie ich es mitbekommen habe, weil letzte Saison haben sie sich auch teilweise schwer getan. Und ja, was man heute gesehen hat, gibt es noch viel zu tun, damit es wieder sehr, sehr schwer wird.
Alles klar, vielen Dank und viel Erfolg, Philipp.
Ciao.